Kyle Larson should be on top of the world right now. He won his second championship just months ago. Instead, his 2026 season has turned into one big headache, and the same crew member keeps getting kicked out of the track over and over again. Let's back up for a second. Larson clinched his title last year at Phoenix with a third-place finish in the season finale. Under the current rules, you don't need to win the last race of the year. You just need to beat the other 3 title contenders that day. Larson did exactly that, and the trophy was his. So fans figured 2026 would be more of the same. More wins, more dominance, more Kyle Larson making it look easy. That's not what happened. The season opened with a brutal day at the Daytona 500. Larson got caught up in a crash, never finished the race, and was credited with a 32nd place result. A DNF for the defending champ right out of the gate. Then came Atlanta the very next week, and he managed to climb home in 16th. Better than Daytona, sure, but still not what a defending champion wants either. 2 races into defending his crown, and Larson was already sitting 21st in the point standings. For the guy everyone calls the best driver in the sport, that kind of start raises eyebrows fast. But the on-track stuff was just the beginning. The real headache started before the Atlanta race even got going. NASCAR officials ran Larson's number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevy through pre-qualifying inspection. The car failed. They fixed it, ran it again, and it failed a second time. It only passed on the 3rd try. Now here's something a lot of casual fans don't know. Failing inspection once in NASCAR isn't a big deal. It happens. You fix it, you move on. But fail twice or more? That's when NASCAR brings down the hammer. And the hammer came down hard. Larson's team lost the right to pick their own pit stall. That sounds small until you think about it. At a lot of tracks, a bad pit location can cost a team several seconds on every single stop. Over a 400-mile race, that adds up to a lot of lost positions on the track. But the bigger blow was personal. NASCAR kicked Larson's car chief, Jesse Saunders, out for the rest of the race weekend. The car chief is the guy who fine-tunes the setup between practice and qualifying. Losing him for the weekend is like a football team losing its head coach right before kickoff. Larson still had to go race without him. You'd think that would be the end of it. One bad weekend, lesson learned, move on. It wasn't. A few weeks later, the series rolled into Bristol Motor Speedway for the Food City 500. Inspection chaos hit again. This time it wasn't just Larson, though. 5 different Cup Series cars failed inspection multiple times before the race. Larson's number 5 was on the list. So were Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain, Cole Custer, and Chad Fincham. All 5 teams got hit with the same double penalty. Lost pit stall selection. Crew member ejected for the weekend. Same punishment as before. But here's what made it sting more for Larson. He wasn't just one random name on a list of unlucky teams. He was the reigning champion showing up in penalty reports for the 2nd time in just a few weeks. People in the garage started whispering. Was Hendrick Motorsports pushing the rules too hard trying to find speed? Was the next-gen car just that tough to keep within the rules? Nobody had a clean answer. But the pattern was impossible to ignore. Fast forward to June 2026. The series pulled into Pocono Raceway for the Great American Getaway, 400. Pocono is nicknamed the Tricky Triangle because it has 3 completely different corners. Every team has to compromise their setup to handle all 3. It's already one of the hardest tracks on the schedule to get right. And once again, Larson's car failed inspection twice before passing on the 3rd try. Same penalty as before, lost pit stall selection. Car chief Jesse Saunders ejected from the weekend. That's the 3rd time that one car chief has been sent home in 2026 alone. At this point, it's not bad luck, it's a pattern. A second team also got hit with the same penalty that day, so it wasn't only Hendrick struggling either. Inspection trouble has become one of the defining storylines of the entire 2026 season. But here's the twist that actually makes Larson look really good in all this. Despite losing his car chief for the 3rd time, Larson went out in practice and posted the fastest lap on the whole track. He beat veteran Denny Hamlin by a noticeable margin. Then he backed it up by qualifying 2nd and starting from the front row. The penalty hurt his pit strategy. It clearly didn't touch his speed. And let's clear something up right now. Kyle Larson himself has not been suspended at any point in 2026. Every single penalty this season has hit his team's people and his pit strategy, not his ability to race. There's no public statement, no interview, no quote anywhere of him calling himself furious about any of this. He's talked about the frustration of a rocky title defense. Sure, but that's a totally different thing from a suspension and a meltdown. What actually deserves attention is the bigger picture. A two-time champion has now been hit with inspection penalties at 3 separate races in one season, each time involving the exact same car chief getting pulled from the weekend. That's not random bad luck, that's a pattern. And patterns usually mean something is going on behind the scenes at Hendrick Motorsports that fans aren't fully seeing yet. Through it all, Larson kept climbing. After sitting 21st in points early in the year, he fought his way back up into the top 6 in the standings. That's the more impressive story here. Not a driver throwing a tantrum, a champion taking hit after hit and still staying right in the middle of the title fight. Now things are about to get even more interesting because Larson's schedule over the next few weeks is loaded. First up, on June 21st, NASCAR does something it has genuinely never done before. The series heads to Naval Base Coronado near San Diego for a brand new street race called the Anduril 250. No Cup Series car has ever raced on these streets. Every driver, Larson included, walks in with zero data and zero past experience. When nobody has an edge from history, it becomes pure racecraft. That's exactly the kind of chaos that favors a driver as versatile as Larson, who's raced everything from sprint cars to dirt tracks to road courses. Then on June 28th, the real fireworks start. NASCAR kicks off something called the In-Season Challenge at Sonoma Raceway. This is a single elimination bracket tournament built from the top 32 drivers in the standings. Whoever survives all 5 rounds walks away with $1 million in cash. 16 drivers get knocked out after Sonoma. Then it narrows to 8 after Chicagoland, 4 after Echo Park Speedway, 2 after North Wilkesboro. And the 2 survivors face off in a winner-take-all showdown at the Brickyard 400 inches Indianapolis on July 26th. Larson enters the bracket as the 6th seed. His first matchup is against 27th-seeded Riley Herbst. On paper, that should be a comfortable win for a 2-time champion. But in a single-race format, anything can happen. One bad pit stall, one more inspection headache, one wreck that isn't even his fault. His million-dollar run could be over before it really gets going. Beyond the bracket, the regular championship hunt keeps grinding too. Right now, Larson sits 6th in the season standings with 462 points. He's 207 points behind leader Tyler Reddick, who has held the points lead through every single race so far this year. What happens next is anyone's guess. If the inspection trouble keeps following him, his million-dollar shot at Indianapolis could slip away before the bracket even heats up. But if Hendrick Motorsports finally figures out what's been triggering these failures, Larson could flip the whole season around in a hurry. The speed is clearly there. The qualifying runs prove it. The practice times prove it.